Good morning. We have another video, and again, I am list reviewing a list for the tournament on the 6th of August that I am TOing. This list is from Kaspar, a Danish minor nation fan who have joined me on the channel talking about minor nations. You can go and watch that video. And this is his tournament list for that tournament, and he's fielding Greeks. So let's go and watch that. I'll just share my screen and I will talk you through his list. Right. So here we have it. Built an easy army, and there are some interesting national special rules for the Greeks. They're not an especially good army, but they do get a bonus when outflanking, which is kind of nice. And Kaspar has built his army around that outflank. So it's a 15 order dice dual platoon Greek army, 996 points. So he does have a few points left over if he wants to buy a single SMG. I am not sure that you can, but there are those 4 points. Let's go through it. So he's starting out with a second lieutenant, Inexperienced. In this setup, he doesn't really need the lieutenants to be regular. Although I do know that Kaspar does enjoy having upgraded lieutenants, having upgraded. We're going to see in his infantry in a minute. He's not a min-maxer as such. So, but his lieutenants, they are mainly there to be objective holders or order dice, basically. So, so in that regard, this is perfect. And then we have the infantry. Now, his infantry squads are quite interesting. Look, they're regulars, and he has 7-man squads, and one of them is armed with a VB launcher, which is that rifle-mounted grenade launcher that can shoot like a 1-inch HE 18 inches. This is really cool because what it does is that each and every one of his infantry sections becomes a light mortar, basically. So he has a lot of indirect shots coming out of his army. And that is something that will confuse many players and will, because we're not used to everything having that capability, right? His sections are in the small end of being good skirmish infantry, but they do have a dual purpose. They are backline holding infantry, they are slightly pushy, and they are slightly skirmish. So it is multi-purpose infantry that we're talking about here, especially because he has bought tough fighters for all of them, which means that you wouldn't want to charge these guys. They would mess you up. So that is a deterrent that he's buying tough fighters. 3 of these units of infantry with a VB launcher, and I'm guessing in the second platoon we'll see more of them. Right, then he has a medium mortar team, Inexperienced, really good. If you don't want or need the spotter, there is no reason to buy your medium mortar regular. Buy it Inexperienced, save the points, use them for something else. An artillery piece. This does have a reason to buy it regular, even though you don't have a spotter, and that is because it has gun shield. So right now, that artillery piece becomes really hard to kill. They're basically veterans right now, right? Because of the gun shield. So it's really hard to kill, and it can stand in the line of fire and take whatever comes to it. And I think with minor nations, I also talked with Kaspar about this. You need something good. You need something special. In this case, he has maxed out on his ability to shoot indirect HE. Look at it. He has the howitzer, that's a 3-inch HE. He has the mortar, 2-inch, and he has 3 1-inch HE. That is a lot of indirect fire coming out here. And if he has a little bit of dice luck, he's going to get 1 or 2 6s each turn. Then we have the L3 Tankette Regular. Nice. Has double MMGs, forward facing, hole mounted, 7+, open top though, and it does not have recce. So it can't really move and fire that well. It is a backline MMG. That's what it basically is, and it really benefits from being near to a lieutenant, so that the pins that it will inevitably get, you can easily take those off. Renault FT, which is that well, it's basically a World War I tank. It has one-man turret. It's slow, pitifully slow. It has low velocity, light anti-tank gun, so only 3+. It has a lot of drawbacks, but it is a tank. It is close-topped, and if you're just sitting it in terrain somewhere as a gun, basically, that can move up a little bit, it's really good, and it's very, very cheap for what it actually brings to the table. That anti-tank gun, 65 points. You can buy 2 of these for the same price as a Darker Steward, right? So so it is cheap, and it can work. And then here comes it. The Greeks have access to the Bren carriers. They were given Bren carriers by agreement, Lend-Lease type agreement with the British. So they actually supplied the Greeks with Bren carriers, and Kaspar is making great use of his Bren carriers here. 80 points for a Bren carrier, regular. You want it to be regular, because you want it to be able to shoot well. And then the forward-facing anti-tank rifle and a Bren. Right, so this is really, really good. The pin-mounted LMG is a brilliant little thing, and he has 5-man transport capacity. Wait a minute, are his infantry? His infantry 7 men. So I guess we're going to see lieutenants, and maybe we're going to see in the second platoon some 5-man units, so that he can actually transport them. Let's go and see. Again, a second lieutenant, inexperienced. Oh, here they come. Inexperienced infantry section, inexperienced infantry section. So he has 2 infantry sections here that are only designed to go into Bren carriers and keep them alive. Parking lot service, my boys. This is where you sit them in your Bren carriers. Yes, they have -1 to hit because they are inexperienced with whatever weapon system they're firing. That doesn't really matter, because the Bren carriers are going to come in from the outflank, and they are regulars. So they are at full morale bonus, and I would shoot the inexperienced. They would get the LMG, because that has 4 shots. You're going to hit something, right, and you're going to pin it. So that is how I would run that. He's actually bought a forward artillery observer. Now, the forward artillery observer is maybe not worth 100 points, because it only gets to shoot its artillery piece, its artillery barrage once. But playing British as I do, I can tell you it is really good, and it does have a lot of benefits. You can really pin out the enemy, and what you do is you pin out the enemy. You lay down the artillery barrage the turn before you want to do your thing, so that the enemy on that turn starts out being pinned, and then you can upflank the next turn without the threat of the enemy retaliating too harshly against you, because they're going to be pinned, they're going to want to rally or do whatever, right? So I really like this idea. It allows for an aggressive push in the army. and then another Renault, so that you can push out the two Renaults at the same time that you're pushing out your two Bren carriers. This army has an aggressive element, and it has a lot of indirect shots. So two really good elements that work in the army. I like it quite a lot, Kaspar. I hope you're going to do well. It's always interesting to see minor nations, especially if they really work in a tournament setting. So that was Kaspar's Greeks. I will get back to you and tell you how it went. Cheers.